everybody, it's Paige, and today's video is going to be my fashionably late August wrap-up and September TBR. I decided to combine the two videos into one because it is so late in the month already. It is September 6th, the day that I'm filming this, and I already filmed this video once at the very beginning of the month, but my makeup looked terrible, the lighting was off, and I just thought I could do better. So I am refilming this video. I read 6 books in August, and I have quite the September TBR. So if you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. My lipstick matches my phone case almost perfectly. I am obsessed with this color. It's definitely giving me fall vibes. I just bought this phone case yesterday from Marshall's. It was like $7.99. And I'm obsessed with it. It has that soft matte feel, and it feels exactly like an Apple phone case that I used to have for this phone when I first got it. But this was a lot cheaper. So I keep track of my reads on my phone. I make these book templates every month, and I post them on Instagram. So if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I have an Instagram story highlight with a little tutorial on how to use the templates, as well as a blank template for you guys to screenshot. I started this in January, and I've been doing it every single month. So here is what the September one looks like. It has little mushrooms on it. I am obsessed. August was strawberry themed, and I just kind of do it based on the vibe that I get from each month. So I'll have my Instagram link down below, along with my Goodreads, my book video playlist here on YouTube, all of the book links. I'll have these books that I'm talking about today linked down below. Everything that you need will be in the description box. So for August, like I said, I read 6 books. However, 4 of those 6 books were graphic novels, so I don't know if that really counts or not. I read the entire Heartstopper series, and I loved this series. I thought it was so cute. I went through these really quickly. I think each one took me like an hour or so to read, and I loved it. I thought this was fantastic. There's definitely some sensitive material in here, so make sure you look up trigger warnings before reading, but I loved the artwork in these books. I just think that it's so cute. They were super quick reads. These books are about Charlie and Nick, which I think are side characters in another one of Alice Osman, not sure how to pronounce her name, but I think they're side characters from another one of her novels. But I thought this story was so cute, and there is a 5th one coming out. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm pretty sure it's not until next year, but I would highly recommend this series. I thought it was so cute, and I ended up giving the entire series 4 stars. I loved it so much that I initially rated it 4.5, and then I kind of went back on that and changed it to 4, only because I feel like it's not fair to compare these graphic novels to like regular books. Like, they're just not the same to me. I prefer regular books. I feel like you just get so much more information, and I get so much more invested into the world. Not to take away from the graphic novels, these were fantastic. I just feel like it's not the same scale, if that makes sense. So I would highly recommend this series. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm obsessed. There's also a TV show out, and I think it's based on the first 2 books, these 2, so I'm excited to watch that as well. The next book that I read was After We Collided. This book took forever for me to get through, only because it's super thick, and I was annotating it, which this was the first book that I truly annotated. I tabbed it, as you can see. I highlighted in it and underlined, and I wrote in it all kinds of stuff. So this took forever for me to get through, but it was so good. I'm obsessed with the After series. This is the 2nd book in the series. I rated this 5 stars. It's incredible. I love it so much. I just love this whole world so much. If you guys are looking for a new series or just something fun to read, I would recommend After. Definitely look up trigger warnings. There are some insanely sensitive topics. Like, oh my gosh, there's a lot. Heavy topics in these books, but they're so good, and I feel like as obsessed with After as some people are with like Harry Potter and Twilight. This is like my book obsession, series book obsession. I hype it up all the time, I know, but I truly just love it so much. So this book was incredible. I would highly recommend it. Obviously read the first book first. It's called After. This is After We Collided. There's a new movie coming out. All of the books have movies so far. Well, The first 4 books have movies. The 4th movie comes out tomorrow actually, and I'm so excited because I'm going to go see it. I can't wait. I have high hopes, but I'm really nervous at the same time because right now, at the point that I am in the book that I'm reading, I'm stressed. I hope that made sense, but also like didn't make too much sense. I tried to be cryptic while getting my point across. Anyway. The last book that I read during August was actually on my Kindle. This book is called Home is Where You Are by Melissa Grace. This book was so cute. This is a super fun, super entertaining rom-com, and it is available in paperback. I was actually gifted a copy of it on my Kindle. She actually gifted me the whole series. She has 3 books so far in the series. The first 2 are currently out, and the 3rd one comes out in October. I think it's October 4th. This was my first Melissa Grace book, and I loved it so much. I rated it 4.5 stars. I was laughing out loud while reading this book. It's dual POV. It takes place in Nashville, and it is so good. I don't want to give you much more other than that because I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like that's pretty vague while also kind of maybe piquing your interest. It is so good. I'm obsessed. I would highly recommend it. Her books are on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have Kindle Unlimited, please go download Home is Where You Are and read it. The second book is called Home Again, and then the 3rd book that's coming out is called Long Way Home. I also believe she has like 1 or 2 more books planned for the series, and I am so excited. I would highly recommend her work. It's incredible, and yeah, that's my August wrap up. Pretty short and sweet. Now we'll move on to the tower of books that are my TBR. I always have these super ambitious TBRs, and I never come close to being accurate. My TBR for August was like 25 books long. We're not that ambitious this month, but I still have quite a few books on my TBR, and I have them in somewhat of an order. It's kind of like an order of priority, if that makes sense. So the first books that I'm going to talk about are the ones that I like have to read this month and that I like need to read sooner than the other ones. They're just at the top of my list. The first one being After We Fell. This is the 3rd book in the After series, and this is a little bit of a spoiler alert. I actually finished this book this month. I finished it a couple days ago. I tabbed it as well. I'm so obsessed with tabbing books now. I also highlighted and underlined and wrote in this book, but 5 stars. This book was massive. It's even bigger than After We Collided. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but this book is almost 900 pages. I think this one is like almost 700. Yeah, this book is almost 700. This book is getting close to 900 pages, but I finished both of them. This one I finished in September though, since I'm filming this a little bit late. That's why it's kind of a spoiler alert, but I already have 1 book finished this month, which feels great, and it was the biggest one on my TBR. Now, the next book that's on my TBR is After Ever Happy. This is the movie that I'm going to see tomorrow. And yes, I'm going to see it tomorrow. And I'm only on page 76. So I have a long way to go. I have about 425 pages to read before 7 p.m. tomorrow, which is about 24 hours and 13 minutes. 24 hours, no, 24 hours and yes, 13 minutes. That's how long I have to read this book, which I think I can definitely do after I film this, edit, and upload it. This is all I'm going to be doing for the next 24 hours is finishing this book, and like I mentioned earlier, I am stressed. This book has just my my heart just accelerates in not a good way and I am stressed while reading this book, but I'm also excited. I'm a little bit sad because this is the last book in the series. There is one called Before, and I think it came out after this one, but it's like a prequel or something. So this is the ending of the series, unfortunately, and that makes me so sad but also excited at the same time. So this is next on my TBR. This is what I'm currently reading. This is the next book on my TBR. This is Ricochet by Krista and Becca Rucci. This is the second book in the Addicted series. This has been on a few of my TBRs, not gonna lie, but I actually have started this book and I'm over halfway done with it. I only have about 100 pages left. I'm liking this. I'm not like loving it. I didn't love the first book. People rave about the Addicted Calorie Sister series compilation, and I don't see it yet, but I know that a lot of people say like the first 2 books are just kind of like okay, but then they get so good and you get so invested. I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm not feeling very invested so far, but Kristen finished this book and she told me that I'm like at the part where it picks up and gets really good, which I am excited about, but I've kind of put this on the back burner just a little bit because I've been so focused on finishing these books in time for the movie that's pretty much been my only focus. But I am excited to finish reading this book. It's pretty short. It's like 270 pages or so. So this will be what I read after I finish After Ever Happy. Following that, I have Vampire Academy. This is the first book in the series. There's actually a show coming out in like a week and a half. I think it comes out the 15th. And I'm really excited for the show. Julie Plec is doing the show, and she's the one that did Vampire Diaries, the show, and I love Vampire Diaries. Speaking of Vampire Diaries, who else is crushed that's not on Netflix anymore? I'm pretty sure it's on HBO now, but still, I haven't finished the show yet. I'm on season 6. I've been reading so much though recently that I have not watched much TV other than the after movies. But I'm excited for this show to come out, and I have really high hopes. I know some movies came out about these books and they were not very good. From what I heard, I don't think they went over very well, but I attempted reading this book previously and I just couldn't get into it. But that was at the beginning of my reading journey, so I'm thinking now that it's been about a year since I've been reading that I can give this another try and hopefully I will enjoy this. This is obviously about vampires. Again, I only read like a chapter or two before and I was just really confused by the language, like the vocabulary, the words of the names of the creatures and which creatures do what, and I just don't know how to pronounce the words and it's stressful. So that's kind of what turned me off from this book previously, but I'm excited to give that another go. I actually have the first 3 books in the series, so I better like it. Following that, I have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I am so excited to read this book. I have been seeing people talk about this book for a really long time, but within the last like week and a half, I've seen multiple people give this like above 5 out of 5 stars, like 6 out of 5, 10 out of 5. Like it's their favorite book, and I'm really excited. I have insanely high hopes for this book. I kind of know a little bit about what it's about, but not too much, so I don't think I'm gonna read the back of the book prior to going into the story. I think I just kind of want to go in blind, or as blind as possible. I feel like this looks like it's gonna be a sad book. I don't know if it is, but I'm excited to read it, and I am reading this for a book club, so I'm excited to read that. I have a little bit of a time crunch on that one. And then the rest of these, I don't have a time crunch necessarily. I just definitely want to read as many of these as I can this month because I already started looking into my October TBR and I want to have like some more like spooky books. Like nothing too scary, but just like a little bit spookier, maybe some like rom-coms or romance novels that have like witches in them, that kind of thing. Maybe a thriller or two. I'm thinking The Silent Patient. I haven't read that one yet, but that's what I'm excited for October, so I'm gonna try to get through as many of these as I can in September. The next book being Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This has been on my TBR the last 2 months. I actually started this book this past month. I read the first 2 chapters. It's dual POV. This is about Ada and Callum, and so far I am intrigued. I want to keep reading. I just like haven't had time because again, literally the only thing I've been reading is the After series. So I'm excited to finish the After series so that I can reach for some of these other books. But this one I know is going to be great. I'm pretty sure it's like mafia romance. I don't know if it's considered dark romance, but the font is pretty large, so I think this is going to be a pretty quick read. She actually just released some discreet covers for these novels. This is the first book in the Brutal Birthright series. This is like the first book that you're supposed to start with. I actually have the entire Kingmaker series and I have all of the discreet covers. I bought the first 3 and then Sophie Lark actually sent me signed copies of the last 2 and I was like in shock. I was so excited by that, but I need to read the Brutal Birthright series first before I read those books. So I have this one, but after I read this, when I buy the second book, I'm buying the discreet covers because I am just partial to the aesthetic of the discreet covers. I was gonna say the street covers. Oh my gosh. Anyway, if you are interested in mafia romance, I've heard this is a great one to kind of get into that genre. And Sophie Lark is like a sweet human being. I just love her so much. I don't even like know her, but just from following her on Instagram, she is so sweet, and her books are taking off. I see so many people talking about them. I found out about her through Kristen, but I see her books everywhere. It feels like everyone's talking about them, which makes me so happy. Next, we have The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. This is a closed-door romance, otherwise known as a non-spicy romance book, if that makes sense. Closed door. I don't really know what this one is about. I have heard great things about this book. This is the special edition. It has more of like a green cover. I think the original one is more minty, which I wish I had that cover, but that's okay. I haven't seen that cover in like months. This is the only one that I see now, but I'm excited to read this. I haven't read anything from Sarah Adams. Again, Kristen has read this book and she really likes Sarah Adams, so I'm excited to read that and give it a go. I decided to add it to my TBR because I saw a TikTok and someone mentioned that it kind of gave them fall vibes a little bit. I don't know how true that is. I don't really know anything about this other than it looks like it's about a football player and a ballerina. So there's that. Following that, we have Terms and Conditions. And the other day, I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep, and I should have been reading the After series, but I didn't want to like turn my lamp on. It was like 4 a.m. and Jarvis was sleeping next to me, so I decided to download Terms and Conditions on my Kindle, and I started reading it on my Kindle. I have plenty of other books that I could have started on my Kindle, but I decided to start Terms and Conditions. I read the first like couple chapters, maybe like the first 2 chapters. And so far I really like it. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, I'm partial to the first book, The Fine Print. I loved it so much, and I just don't know how I'm gonna like this book. Everyone says they like it better than the first one. I'm just such a Rowan lover that I love the first book so much, and I don't know how much I'm gonna care about Declan. We love Iris. I'm excited to read about Iris, but we'll see how that goes. We'll see. Definitely it gives Marriage of Convenience vibes, and that's kind of the main vibe I'm getting so far from the first like 2 chapters of the book and from what I've heard about it previously. But I'm excited to read that this month. Following that, I have The Flat Share. This is another book that has been on several of my TBRs. This is about Tiffy and Leon. It's a one-bed trope. They live in the same apartment. They don't know each other. One's on day shift, one is on night shift. So they're at the apartment at different times, and that's about as much as I know about this book. You can get that information from the back. It is dual POV between Tiffy and Leon, and I'm really excited to read this. It has pretty short chapters. However, the font is like microscopic, so we'll see how quick of a read that is, but that is by Beth O'Leary, and I have not read a book by Beth O'Leary, and I'm excited to do so. Following that, we have Confess by Colleen Hoover. I want to read a Colleen Hoover book this month. I still have quite a few Colleen Hoover books to read. I think I've read 10 at this point, but I'm kind of like savoring them because once I run out, I'm going to be so sad. And It Starts With Us comes out next month, actually. Oh my gosh, it's September. So next month, It Starts With Us comes out. So I need to read It Ends With Us again. I read that literally a year ago. I think last August or September. So I need to reread that book before It Starts With Us comes out. I'm so excited for It Starts With Us. Like, you have no idea. But I do want to read Confess this month. I don't really know too much about what it's about. Let's go ahead and read the back. It's pretty short. It says, Auburn Reed has lost everything important to her. In her fight to rebuild her shattered life, she has her goals in sight and there is no room for mistakes. But when she walks into a Dallas art studio in search of a job, she doesn't expect to find a deep attraction to the enigmatic artist who works there, Owen Gentry. For once, Auburn takes a chance and puts her heart in control, only to discover that Owen is keeping a major secret from coming out. The magnitude of his past threatens to destroy everything Auburn loves most, and the only way to get her life back on track is to cut Owen out of it. to save their relationship, all Owen needs to do is confess. But in this case, the confession could be much more destructive than the actual sin. In her magnificent and exceptional style, Colleen Hoover delivers once again a deeply moving story about how true love and family are ties that can never be broken. I feel like the back of Colleen Hoover's books are pretty vague usually, but when you read the book and you revisit the back, there's like so much that's told to you and you just don't realize it. I feel like that's the case with most of her like synopsis on the backs of her books. Same with the covers. The covers always are like low-key but like mind-blowingly important, so I'm excited to read this. It sounds interesting. Colleen Hoover can do no wrong. There is a show about this book. I have not seen it yet, but I am excited to watch it once I read that book. Then we have Love in Other Words. I have needed to read this book for ages, literal ages, and I still have not read it, but I'm excited to read it. This is like a childhood friends to lovers, second chance romance book. I don't know much about it. It's like a then and now type thing, so we'll see how that goes. I've heard incredible things about it. Then we have The X Talk. This is a book that I have had for a very long time. This is one that I bought early on in my like book journey. This is about two people who pretend to be exes for a radio show, and then I think they potentially fall in love. I don't know. That's just a guess. I honestly have no clue. But I am excited to read this. Definitely giving enemies to lovers vibes. Following that, we have a Tessa Bailey book, Fix Her Up. I am so excited to read this book. This is the first book in the Hot and Hammered series. I love Tessa Bailey. I have loved every single book that I read by her. I'm pretty sure that this book is in third person, which is unfortunate. I prefer first person, but that's okay because it's Tessa Bailey. I'll let it slide. But generally speaking, I prefer first person books just because I don't know, I feel like it's so much easier to read, but I am excited to read this. There are 3 books in this series. Next, we have Mr. Wrong Number. This is by Lynn Painter. I bought this because I saw Larry Reed's talk about it like months and months and months ago. I'm pretty sure this has the brother's best friend trope, which I'm really excited about. It says one wrong number might lead to Mr. Right. I'm so excited to read this. Again, I've heard great things about it. And then the last 2 books on my physical TBR for September are 11 Paper Hearts, which is a YA book. Super, super cute. It sounds super, super cute. I'm pretty sure Ella ends up getting in a car accident and has amnesia and doesn't remember why she broke up with her boyfriend, but then she starts receiving paper hearts. And it leads to something. I think they have clues or something about what happened and why she felt the way she did because she doesn't remember. But I don't know who the paper hearts are from. I don't know what kind of relationships this is going to spark, but either way, I'm excited about it. And then the final book on my TBR is Where the Crawdads Sing. I am struggling to get through this book. I read 6 chapters and then I haven't picked it up since. This is very difficult for me to read. I don't know. I've heard that it's worth it to keep going, so I'm gonna keep going. I still haven't seen the movie yet. I'm gonna read this before I see the movie. I just need to get through it. So after I finish the After series and a few of these other books, I'll try to come and revisit that book and hopefully get through it because I would love to see the movie and I would love to read the book and love it. Hopefully. I really hope that I love it. My mom loved it, so hopefully I do as well. I also do have a few books on my Kindle that I would love to read this month, including Home Again, Home is Where You Are, Eloise and the Grump Next Door, which is by Emma St. Clair and Jenny Proctor. I have quite a few, not gonna lie. I have quite a few books on my Kindle, so I'm excited to see what I read this month. Like I said, I have 1 down, approximately 20 or so to go. We will see. I'm feeling like I'm gonna get a lot of reading done this month. Speaking it into existence, you know. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Like I said, all of these books will be linked down below. My Goodreads, my Instagram for the book template, my book video playlist, all of it, all of the book stuff will be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I love you all so, so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!